In continuation to the last video where we saw division wise salary, average salary and count of people working for each division, I will be talking about the next level of MIS reports. First, let me show the output. I'm going to the sheet called sample output. So let me arrive at MIS report 2, which shows you total salary in terms of percentage and also the head count in terms of percentage for you to be able to make a comparative analysis. So let me get back to my pivot table. Let me check off the salary, although I could have done from the same set of steps, but let me just go back one step and start afresh. Now I want two things. I want this sum of salary and I want the head count. So let me put the salary in the main action area twice. Let me change one of them to the count, double click, change one of them to count. So now I want to convert all these absolute numbers in a percentage form, for which let me adopt an approach. At the junction where I get this sum of salary, let me double click. Now before this video we did talk about how do you convert to average, count or sum, but this time let me access the other tab which says show values as. Now how would you want to show the value as? I wouldn't want to show as normal. I would want them to be shown in terms of percentage of total. So I press OK. At the outset it might seem it is disabled, the base field, but the main criteria is to be chosen from this drop down. So that's just a quick note. Okay. Alright, so 100% that's the total salary and almost half of them is getting paid to the employees of division RAD. Let me do a similar thing on the next part, which is count of salary. Let me double click. Go to the tab show values as. From this drop down, let me choose percentage of total. Okay. So now if you do a comparative analysis, 1/3 of the organization has been working in division RAD, but RAD is drawing almost half of the entire workforce salary. So that's how the picture looks like. Give it a try, and while you do so, you may want to pause the video because the next level of MIS report will be talking about a 2-grid scenario wherein I will have division names, the rating provided to all employees and how they are placed across the spectrum. So to do that, let me again go back to the pivot table. Let me take this salary off, keeping division on. Now this time I will be using the rating. But wait, if I put the rating in the main action area, what's going to happen is it's going to total up all the ratings. Let's say person A, person B, person C, everybody's rating is being totaled up again, which is not of any use to me. So I check off the rating and I make sure I put the rating not in the main action area but under the column fields. So I now have a 2x2 grid ready. All I have to do is fill up the main action area. Now you can put salary in the main action area and do a count. Alternatively, you can put the name in the main action area. Now why would I do that? Now since name contains all text, it cannot be summarized, it cannot be averaged. Only one mathematical calculation that can happen on that is count. So if I want to reduce the decimal, I can go to home, reduce the decimal. Now this looks like a clear picture. So 417 employees, out of which how many are placed under rating 1 across various divisions. Now if you were to do a per unit base analysis, that is within division AD, if I consider the total number of employees to be 100%, how is the distribution looking like? Let's say 40% belonging to rating 1, 40% to rating 2 and the remaining 20% to rating 3, 4 and 5. Now how do I do that? Let me again double click on the count of name because that's the base for all the calculation. Double click, show values as. Now if you choose the same option as last time, let's say percentage of total, you're not going to get an accurate result. Why? Because the total is this 100% and this is how they are distributed across various divisions. Now once 9% or 10% is allocated to division AD, the breakup of that 9.8% is been shown out here. Now this may not give the correct result. Why? Because some divisions could be heavily staffed, some could be consisting of very low number of workers. So what I want is each unit should be analyzed separately as a separate business unit. So I want the percentage to be calculated not as a total but as a total based on row. So I go back, I go to count of name, I double click, I go to show values as I did earlier, but this time my target is percentage of row. Now once I do that, let's look at the result. Alright, so 100% if considered to be the total workforce for the SBU, separate business unit, strategic business unit for AD, out of which almost 36-37% belongs to rating 1 and 2. Now if you want to club group 1 and 2, for example 1 and 2, if I select both, I can right click and say please group them. So hence it is forming a part of group 1 which I can summarize and say, hey, rating 1, 2 forming 37% of the total AD workforce. If I do a comparative analysis, I will get to see in the division AD 53% of the people are getting the top notch rating. So this can provide a good comparative analysis. If I want to reverse this, you may want to select group 1 and then say ungroup. So going back, 1 and 2 ungrouped. So this was one quick analysis where we talked about division wise, rating wise in terms of absolute numbers. We also talked about percentage both in MIS report 3 and MIS report 2. We'll see more combinations in the next video. Till then, keep on practicing till here.